We are built for this network, for the strong, not the weak.
Here is the story we have been told in Columbus's travel journal. They were discovered. But there is no such thing as alternative facts. There is something we need to talk about. 3 words that summarize the whole history of humanity: civilization, colonization, extermination. This is the origin of the ideology of white supremacy. This is me in the middle, and I just want to understand, why do I bring myself into this story? Because I am an immigrant from a shithole country. Neutrality is not an option. So you best die. Or get out of the way. It's time to own up to a basic truth. The story of survival and violence. We know now what their task truly is. Exterminate all the brutes. It's not knowledge we lack. You already know enough. What is missing is the courage to understand what we know. Who are we? What if, from the beginning, the story was told the wrong way? The nightmare is buried deep in our consciousness, so deep that we do not recognize it. And over the centuries, with us all buried, because the past has a future we never expect. No escaping this. 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 No escaping this.
No one's ready to deal with us.
No escaping this. No escaping this. No escape.
No one's ready to deal with us.
No escaping this. No escaping this. No escape.
No one's ready to deal with us.
No escaping this. No escaping this. No escape.
No one's ready to deal with us.
You are listening to the End of the Bench podcast on Built for This Network, hosted by my man, TEODB.
What's good, people? What's good? Thank you for tuning in. This is the End of the Bench podcast on Built for This Network. I am TEODB. Today, we have a forum. Actually, my favorite way to do the podcast now. It's always more fun than to just hear me talk. We'll have a few guests a little later. But for now, I have 2 people who are dope people, awesome opinions. We're going to get into that, but y'all know how I start each and every one of my shows. I acknowledge my family and my ancestors. Without them, there is no me. First and foremost, I want to acknowledge the people who are here and who are not here. They have transitioned over to my ancestors. This includes everybody in my family collected to the Whitmore, Pollard, Turner, Battle, Cotton, Harper, Bailey, Cripps, Lansdowne, Liggins, Duncan, and Williams clan. We are in the building at all times. Thank you for tuning in. And as I say every week, this is a podcast. Why do I say that every week? Because every week somebody said, yo, B, I missed your show. My show is on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you missed it, you ain't looking for it. You can find me on Spreaker.com, Built for This Network, YouTube, Built for This Network, YouTube here at the End of the Bench. You can find me on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Castbox, Deezer, Podcast Addict, or any popular outlets that download podcasts. Thank you for tuning in. I got my man Big Mo, and I got my man Rated Kev. We are in the building. Thank you for tuning in. Holla at your boy.
What's up, man? What's up, man? What's up?
Man, I'm good. It's even better. It's going to get greater later. Now, what I want to do, y'all, for the listeners and you guys, I want to talk about sports. We talked about religion. We talked about the community from the man aspect. We talked about the community from a woman's perspective, spiritual perspective. Now we're going to talk about athletics and entertainment. Speaking of entertainment, I got my main man. He tuning in as well. Ben from BS3 Sports. He in the building. What's good, Ben? Hello.
Hey, I'm here.
Oh, okay. I got Ben from BS3 Sports. He's tuning in as usual. He's one of my podcast brethren, and he's the host. I'm a co-host. He's the host of Forecast that I'm a part of. Thank you for tuning in again. We're going to talk about athletics and sports in the world today, how it affects us, things, how do we see things. I want to get some honest opinions, so I got to ask these brothers to join me in regards to this. It's going to be fun. It's going to be serious. It's going to be informative. With that being said, thank you guys again for tuning in. And anybody in the chat room, if I don't say your name, that's because people listening all over the world, they don't care what your name is. They can't even listen to Big Mo, Ben, and Rated Kev. They actually sick of hearing me. So they tell me every once in a while on Twitter, hey, Shrap, get somebody else to talk to, man. But with that being said, man, entertainment and sports are very important in America. But as we see in the last 365 days, and we should have been, it is more than obvious in the last 365 days, and it is becoming more and more serious. We have to focus on other things. I'm going to ask the very first question. How do you feel about the state of sports and entertainment in America today? Anybody who wants to can take the floor.
It's watered down, man. I feel like it's watered down, man. I mean, it's coming from that era. You know, I'm a Laker fan, Showtime era. I don't know. It don't feel the same to me. And I guess what I mean by that is, I mean, you know, you're going to hear people all the time talk about that toughness. You know what I'm saying? That grit that's on the court. You know what I'm saying? Football, I mean, they done changed up all the rules. It's built for TV, which is a good thing. But I don't know. I mean, that fire not there no more. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to enjoy it like it used to be. That's my rough opinion on that.
Yeah, and I'm piggybacking on what Mo is saying. You know, I think what sports has done, I think it's showing his true colors in a lot of aspects. We always knew, you know, money was a big part of what sports was about, right? But for a fan, you appreciate that passion, the love for the game, you know, and I think we've lost some of that in both ownership, in fandom, and also in the players. And I think it really became highlighted when small gestures that meant a lot to us, when Kaepernick took that knee. And when they took that man's career, it cast a huge light on what we're doing here, you know? So you can have a national anthem that glorifies the country, which is a political statement. But yet when you make a statement that you're not loving us as a community, you then take that and you say, oh, this is not the place for it. I'm trying to get away from that. Well, you ain't never seen that. You don't ever acknowledge that. And we're trying to take a small part of your day and have you recognized something that's going on in this country? So I think in a lot of ways, what they showed me was that we don't have the value that we thought we did. You know, what some of us did. I never really bought into that. But the value that was placed on our community, in our sports community, the black players, I think was lost. What was told to you, and that gesture was, you shut up, you play, and that's it. I don't want to hear nothing else. So in that aspect, I haven't lost the passion for the sport, but it put it in a certain category for me as this is strictly entertainment, and that's the only way I view it. I love, you see right now, I love sports. I love my Raiders. I love sports, but I love my community more. And so because I love my community more, I recognize what sports is, and that's all it is to me. Just strictly entertainment.
I'll say that too, though. I mean, and I guess I say it in the form of a question. But I think what we're starting to see is a lot of these players are realizing that they either have more power than they thought they did, or thought they had more power than they did before. You know what I'm saying? You're seeing more players being, more vocal about certain things, more players, just making moves to create more financial avenues within the sport to use within the community than you've ever seen before. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I don't even know how to feel about that. I don't even, I ain't gonna say I fully understand the dynamics behind all of that, but I mean, it's something you're starting to see more of.
But I appreciate that though, because see, it goes back to what I'm saying. I think a lot of times these players are looking at it and say, you know what? The coaches and the ownership tells me I'm important, and they tell me I have this platform, use it. All these things are said to me, right? But when I do use it, and you don't like the way I'm using it, now I'm a problem. So now what I think a lot of the players are saying, some of them who just can't be touched, like let's say like LeBron, it doesn't matter, they can't touch him, right? So he has the opportunity to say what he wants and do what he wants, regardless to the feedback, right? Players who are doesn't have that same capital, right? They're saying, you know what, I'm looking out for myself, and I'm gonna stack this cake up, and I'm going for what is important for me. I'm getting this paper, and that's it. And I can appreciate that. Now, as long as you're not just not gonna play well, not gonna put forth your effort, then that might be an issue. But as long as you're saying, look, I'm looking out for myself. When I hit free agency, I'm going out for my bread. You can leave my team. I'm gonna be cool as long as you're going for your bread. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm not gonna be hurt at all about that. Make that move for yourself, because you know what? The fan base. I'm gonna just call it how it is, man. I hope you appreciate it. I hope you don't be upset. The white fan base, right, doesn't care. They don't care. So if they don't care, why should that player care? You know what I'm saying? Hey, go for yours, man.
Well, let Ben get in on this now. Hold it, wait, yeah.
I'm driving, so sorry, but I think sports for me is just starting to get boring. To be honest, like I used to talk about sports every single week. Like I found stuff to talk about. And at this point, I'm more wanting to expand to other things just because it's the same thing over and over and over again. And honestly, a lot of people don't really pay attention till you get to the playoffs. They don't pay attention until like the real competition happens, because what really goes down, I think too, is that they're just doing just enough, especially the NBA. They're gonna do just enough to make it to the playoffs. Major League Baseball, obviously, you got so many games. All your star players aren't going to play every single game. It's impossible because they play so many. And NFL, I mean, they gotta win the majority of their games because you only got 16. But I found myself now just paying attention to certain teams. Like I'll watch a North Carolina basketball game. I'll watch that from beginning to end. I'll watch a Cowboys game from beginning to end. I can't remember the last time I've watched an NBA game from beginning to end, just because I don't know. Maybe that's attention span. I think is a factor too. People may not want to watch the whole game, but they'll watch some highlights put together. They'll watch their team, see how they did. But I think to what Big Mo and Redicate, what you guys are talking about too, is true. I think when the Kaepernick happened, we started to really see what the sports world thinks about us as individuals, of what they think about black people. So, I ask myself that all the time, like, why am I supporting these teams when they really don't support the players? If the player had a real issue that they had to come up with, would they truly be back to support it? And the Cowboys is like A1. Like, they're not going to support Dak if he came out with a Black Lives Matter shirt on. I doubt that they would.
I'm standing right next to you on that, doubt. With that being said, my answer is inculcated with all of y'all, man. It is the exact same thing. If I wish I could put it all together and just not even answer, but the answer is they don't care about us. They care about the money, and they've shown us. And finally, we knew it all the time. It's one of those things where you know something in the back of your mind, and you go, "Hey, man, this could be it," and then you realize, no, that ain't what it is. What it is they don't like us, and they use us as chattel. You heard Marge Schott back in the '80s call her players $1 million babies. You saw in a Ralph Wiley book, $1 million slaves. It's just what it is now. It is popped up in our face so hard that we can't ignore it now. The National Basketball Association, the NFL, MLB, and all forms of entertainment are for the people who own those teams. And if anybody doubts that, then that's your choice to doubt it. You have the ability to watch things. You have the ability to absorb things. But at the end of the day, they have shown us time and time again that they don't care. They pretend to care. None of these leagues actually give a damn. Because if you want any semblance of proof of what I'm saying, Major League Baseball waited until after the law was passed, and then they stood up. What good does it do now? That's like getting on the bus, going where you need to go, and saying, I'm boycotting that bus. You're already where you need to be. So, and the fact that we don't even need to watch anymore. You know why? Because the Brady Cavs of the world, the Bens of the world, and the Raider Cavs of the world, the Bens of the world, and the Big Moles and H-Raps of the world, we made sports so popular to the point that we don't even realize that fantasy football is feeding these leagues off our love for the game. That's what fantasy football is doing. And if you don't understand what I'm saying, is this is what these major leagues are doing. NFL, MLB, NBA. They got people winning money on fantasy football leagues. So I don't need to watch the game. I need to pay attention to Yahoo and all these other streaming services. They call that intellectual property and charge those people for having leagues off their intellectual property. They get paid. That's why they don't really care. Ain't nobody watching the NFL no more because you know what? I think that's your son in the chat room, Mo, Hakeem.
My son?
Yeah. Oh, I thought he said my dad. I bet you these young people who.
That might be
Oh,
mine.
okay. Your son, Raider Cavs son. Yeah. I bet you he spends most of his time like this. So if people spending most of their time looking at their phones, that means they're looking at stats on their phones. They're getting all the information on their phones. So who cares who's watching the TV anymore? Yeah, the Raider Cavs and the Big Moles and the Bens, we watch TV. But that's about to be a dead entity. Yeah. And if we got young people who don't give a damn about who wins, it's my team going to win so I can win this money. So that's the way I see it. Anybody want to retort that, or do we, you continue to move on? Please.
I wanted to jump in real quick. That's like the emergence of DraftKings, FanDuel.
Yes.
You don't have to. That's right. You don't have to be tied to any particular team. You just need, and FanDuel and DraftKings is even worse. You just need to be tied to those players for that particular week. You don't even have to be tied to a fantasy football team for the whole year. So yeah, it's evolving that you really don't need to watch sports at all.
Mm-hmm.
You really don't. It's just a matter of if you want to watch the team your favorite team, but just watching in general, just to watch, unless you're a fanatic, a lot of those days are starting to fade.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Big Mo.
I was about to say, what I think was the detriment of creating that passion for the game itself. I think it's getting lost because of these FanDuels and all this other stuff, because you're now rooting for that player and his stats and not the team. This is really what has soured me about fantasy football, because if I it's hard for me to choose a player that's going against my team, because then how I wish him to do well. You know what I'm saying? In my mind, I might know this guy is going to do well because I know the flaws in my team. So man, I can't do that. I can't do it. And that's why it doesn't work for me. But a lot of people, it works for them because they don't have that true connection to someone when they were young. I became a Raider fan when I was like 8 years old. You know what I'm saying? So this passion has been on for years. So how today am I going to say, well, my defense is trash, so I'm going to go ahead and start the quarterback for somebody who's playing us? That don't make sense to me, So I think that's what happens.
Yeah, man. I mean, you cannot. That's why, like me, I'm just a fanatic with college basketball. I'm the type of nerd that'll be up at 3 o'clock in the morning watching Rudy Pooh State play back in the Woods University, and I'm watching like it's Jordan versus Dominique. But that's why a lot of people stayed away from college basketball, because what they do is they really show us. I was talking to my man Ernest Johnson. Shout out to Ernest Johnson for collective at the Collective Perspective podcast, and he was talking about how. It might have been. It don't make a difference who I was talking to. I was talking to one of the homies, and he was talking about how they have to tell you the truth. He said, according to spirituality, they have to tell you the truth. So what they did was make it about money. And then when they put these young boys and rush them into the league so they can get more attention. And they don't really care about college basketball. And that's when college basketball starts to fall off. And now you got the fanatics like Ray the Kev said, he been watching since he was 8. I've been watching college basketball that same amount of time. So I'm stuck there. And everybody else is like, no, I want to see the new dude in the league. And I'm like, it's way better dudes over here. So, it's about money. How can we make a whole lot of money real fast? And that's what turned a lot of us off. Speaking, you know what?
If these players got the leverage that a lot of them think they have now, you hear people talk about it all the time. If the star players, black star players, get their money, pull their money up, start their own situation up. We start supporting HBCUs. We got what's my man? Just the new coach for Tennessee State, Eddie George. All right. So we start supporting them situations, and these players pull up and just create their own leagues. Are we supporting them in? I mean, is all of that going to change? Are we going to be all in at this point, or is it still about that bread? Because people watch the game, be like, I don't care who wins, as long as my numbers hit.
Anybody want to take that? Because I got an answer for that too. Ben, you on mute? Are you purposely muted? Oh yeah,
just so it's no background noise.
Oh no, you clear, you crystal, no background noise at all.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I guess to kind of answer that, I think that would be a great way to trend, because for years and years and years we see black athletes go to Ohio State, they go to Florida State, they go to all these big schools, and they're just making big schools more money. A prime example, if HBCUs were involved in the NCAA tournament and college football national championships, Abilene Christian made millions of dollars just by beating Texas. So if you think, like, just for doing that, you think if Jackson State or one of these other teams was there, the amount of money that would bring to the school. So, A-Trap, man, you've been talking about this for a while, and I'm starting to more so think that, to answer Big Mo's question, I think there would be more support because a lot of us that went to HBCUs or know somebody that's went to HBCU, and it's like the talent can definitely go there, and ESPN is going to follow. Deion is a prime example. Jackson State was not on ESPN last year, the year before that. Maybe they were on ESPNU, but they weren't on ESPN, the main station. So that will completely flip everything. And I think, I think they're looking for support.
So how you get a top recruit to say, you know what, I'm going to this HBCU? Because come on, you know how it is. A lot of these players, if Alabama calling, you know what I'm saying, if Clemson calling, if all of these big schools calling, I mean, you know what, I got an opportunity to change my family life.
Let me
how we make that happen?
let me attack that one. Let me attack that one. The way you do it is exactly the way Deion Sanders and Eddie George are doing it. See, we are in this we have this subservient mentality at this point as a community, right? And once we break out of that and realize the power that lies in our dollars and our voting, we will overcome this foolishness. Hey, hit Mo and Mo. You got younger men at your house, and Ray the Kev got a younger man in his house, right? And Ben has a daughter. But if we all had young men in our house, 17, 18 years old, let's say we got the number 1, 2, 3, and 4 recruits in the nation for any sport. Who you trusting with your child? Deion Primetime Sanders, Eddie George, or Nick Saban? Because as Ben just said, the moment Prime shows up at a HBCU, what happened? He got on ESPN. Like the man who slid out that hatchback. Where the money resides. The money resides with us. We set the trends with music, fashion, culture. We do it all. But you know what we do? We go, but Nick Saban got us. How many brothers, just off the top of our heads, Mark Jackson, Sam Cassell, Corliss Williamson, the Big Nasty, Nate McMillan, that's just 4 right off the top of our head. Leslie Frazier, Joey Porter, and countless NFL guys who've been doing this for the last 15 years. And they are the glue behind NFL teams, NBA teams, NCAA teams, and they sitting there saying, I'm going to wait my turn. I'm going to wait my turn. Imagine this, Big Mo, and then I'll give you the floor, Ray the Kev. Imagine if Mark Jackson, Patrick Ewing, Nate McMillan, and Sam Cassell would have got together and went to Jackson State with $4 million. We know $4 million in Mississippi is way better than $4 million in Chicago. And say, add this to the athletic budget, update the facilities, and we're going to be here until we get to the NCAA 3 years in a row. Because guess what? When those guys walk in your house and say, Big Mo, Kev, Ben, we want your son to be the starting point guard. You might pack his stuff that night. Like, hey, boy, you going to Jackson State. I don't care what you like. That's where you going. Because what scout is not going to say, oh, Patrick Ewing. Oh, man, blah, blah, blah. Because they've been doing it for years. Because this is what they do at North Carolina. They come get Big Mo. Big Mo, 18 years old. He the man. They come get Big Mo. And they walk him by the gym with Kenny Smith, Michael Jordan, Jerry Stackhouse, Rasheed Wallace, and the rest of the players playing. So what happens if Patrick Ewing and those guys are at Jackson State? When you walk in the thing and you see NBA Hall of Famers playing, boom, you blown out the water. Ray the Kev, it's yours, baby.
So look, piggybacking on all that, and I want to repeat this. Everything you guys have said is spot on, right? You want that big name as part of your program to attract, But piggybacking on that, when you go to that parent, right? You tell that parent, listen, I'm not gonna promise you an NBA contract for your son, or NFL contract for your son. have Deion as my head coach. So it's a win-win. You don't have to, because when he goes to North Carolina, when he goes to Florida, when he goes to LSU, I'm gonna use my team. When he goes to LSU, he has to fight. He might get 1 year, maybe 2 to shine. That's it. But if you come with me, he's gonna get 3. You know what I'm saying? So we are on the cusp of getting that. If we can get these universities to buy into it and recognize this is the road you can go down. Because look, ESPN is following every single school out there. There's not a player that's hiding. So you can't say you can't get exposure. But what you have to do is go to that family and explain to that family that, look, Deion Sanders is going to help you get that exposure, and I'm going to guarantee that education.
Yeah, I wanted to add on to that too. It's two-sided. A-Trap, you touched on it. Number one is you do have to get the big name, but number two, you do have to make it appetizing. You can't. I went to Morehouse, and the facilities there with a stadium where they play basketball is definitely A1 because they did some Olympics there. The football facilities aren't really that great, so you do have to bring some money there. We can't just say, I think Deion is great, but I think also you gotta bring some like luster to it because these are kids. Like they may know who Deion is, but if you look at the facilities, they are different between Alabama and Morehouse. So I think you do gotta bring the money. You do have to upgrade the facilities because that is something that the kids are gonna be looking at.
Great point, man.
Yeah. But see, the money thing will follow. See, that's the thing, and I totally agree with you, Ben, because hell, that was my point. The money thing is what we need to realize that we control. Hey, bro, I've never heard of HBCU. I seen HBCUs on TV in January every once in a while when they came up their Heritage Bowl about 4 years ago in Atlanta in the Georgia Dome. Outside of that, we not on TV. And now Deion hasn't been there a whole year. They've been on ESPN twice. You probably get $2 million a game to be on ESPN. So if you get $2 million a game, you immediately putting that into the facilities. And this is my idea in its totality, and y'all can respond to that too. My idea is this: Big Mo and y'all the top 3 players in the nation, right? I'm finna start at the second 200. I know the top 100 going to the big schools, but it's a dude. If you old enough, it was this dude named Felipe Lopez out of New York City. The whole country was on his heels, and his teammate got a scholarship to the University of Texas. I can't think of his name right now. He might have spent 4 or 5 years in the league. Guess how they found him? Because everybody went to see Felipe, and Rick Barnes said, I know he ain't coming to Texas. What about him? Guess how we got Ja Morant? Ja Morant was Zion Williamson's teammate. So just imagine if Mark Jackson and Ja Morant ain't getting recruited at all, and Mark Jackson and Patrick Ewing and these HBCU guys stepped in, like Kenny Anderson, George Lynch. They coach an HBCU team, Fisk and Clark Atlanta. Boo. Morris Brown in the building. My fault. It was in my blood, man. It was in my blood. But imagine Ja Morant at an HBCU, and then it's over. We don't have to get. See, we be thinking cream of the crop, but it's some dudes that are cream of the crop, and they don't get recruited. Guess what? Who the greatest running back of all time? It's a guy by the name of Walter Payton, right? HBCU. Who one of the greatest pass rushers? Deacon Jones, HBCU. Jerry Rice, HBCU. Aeneas Williams, HBCU. Willie Brown, HBCU. George Atkins, HBCU. Morris Brown in the building. That was a personal. That was love. That was a little shameless plug there. But on the serious side, this is what we have to realize. Scottie Pippen, NAIA. That's you got Division 1, 2, and 3, junior college, and then NAIA, and that's where you got Scottie Pippen. Are we to believe that Damian Lillard, Scottie Pippen, and these are the only great players in those situations. No, we need to start. If we start focusing, buying HBCU gear and focusing on HBCUs, guess what will happen? They'll get more money, they'll get better facilities, and they can get that second tier player who's equal, who's Damon Lillard. To I would love to see who the number one point guard in America was. Damon Lillard, senior year in high school. I bet you he ain't playing in the league. I bet you he's not.
Right.
So.
Hey, before you move on, man, let me say something that you touched on, and that's understanding our dollar, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the problems, not just in sports. I'm gonna go back to your Saturday show, right? If we understand our dollar in our community, it would also make an impact also.
Mm-hmm.
7, 17, 27. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Let's use those dates. But yeah, we understand the value of our money. Then we can understand how this can grow. Because the platform is there. ESPN and Fox is ready to show whoever. And you know what I'm saying? You are not going to miss out on the opportunity to shine. I don't care what school you go to.
Yeah, I totally agree. And for those who didn't watch that show, what Ray Kev is referencing is this. I propose a deal for our community. We always complaining that people don't do what they're supposed to do with us, right? Well, this is what we need to do. On the 7th of every month, find somebody who looks like you to shop with. On the 17th of every month, find somebody who looks like you to shop with. On the 27th of every month, do the exact same thing. If we look, it's 44 to 50 million of us. I'm asking all 44 million of us to do it, but just imagine if 5 million of us did that 3 times a month. People would kowtow to us. In regards to the entertainment, people thought it was self-serving, and damn it, it was self-serving. But I'm not. See, my thing is, as the conversation goes along, y'all will see, my thing is not to make these guys not have money. It's to, if you're gonna pimp the system, stop pimping us and watch how easy it is to pimp everybody else. What I mean by that is Sean Puffy Combs, and I want y'all's opinion on this. Sean Puffy Combs, and this wasn't on the list, but Kev said something, and they triggered it. Sean Puffy Combs last week wrote a letter to corporate America, and he demanded that people and he used GM for starters. He said, we make up 13 to 15% of y'all population. Y'all don't spend 13 to 15% of y'all advertising dollars in black media. Y'all need to start doing those. We gonna pull back our money. Everybody, he doing that for himself. Yes, he is. And I want him to pimp for himself so he could become a gazillionaire like Forrest Gump said. But guess what Puff does? Puff hire people that look just like us. All the time. Puff gives back to his community all the time. So if those people give money to Puff, Puff gonna hire people that look like us at Revolt. He gonna mess around and get Tiger Park at Revolt. He gonna mess around and get the end of the bench on Revolt. He gonna mess around and get BS 3 on Revolt. So is that a problem? Anybody mad at that? I'm listening.
No. And look, and if it is self-serving, right? If it's all about him, he's giving you the blueprint.
Yes.
If it worked for him, then maybe, somebody else would do the same thing. And it could go on and on and on. So doing it for yourself, if you're leaving the blueprint and not keeping it to yourself, if you're going to expose the blueprint, that's what we need.
True. Before we take this next step, anybody else want to add anything to that? Let's do it. How y'all feel about the media? We ain't heard from you and my Ben. Tell me how you feel about the media. You got the media on entertainers, exposing rappers and their flaws. You got the media doing the same thing on athletes. You got the media putting it on our community. Talk to me about it. How you feel?
Yeah, I think the media is always going to paint the picture that they think should be painted. A lot of times the story is not fully out there, and a lot of times I don't believe the story because I don't feel like they paint a full picture. They sometimes paint it one-sided. So I think the media on all levels, I think, does have a major people think the way that they think, because that's what's put on TV. So, but I do think that the media is evolving because there is more black people that are in and more minorities that are in media, and they're doing a great job, or they're building their own, or they're helping to use some of that money, kind of like a LeBron and a KD, using their money to make documentaries, or using their money to put into undefeated in these areas.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with Ben, but I'll say this too to that. I feel like the media is doing that as far as, having our community, just really take the position that we take in the media, but we kind of forced our way into that. You know what I'm saying? They couldn't run from that. I mean, we control the dollar right now. And I think the more of us realize that, the more we're going to continue to see that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we got major platforms right now, and we got the world listening. You know what I'm saying? So it's just all about what we do with that platform. Who controls it and how responsible we are with it, man. I mean, I don't know, the media gonna be the media, man. People just, a lot of times, we just don't think for ourselves. And more and more we kind of lean into the media to think for us. And we just regurgitate the information that we get.
Before you start, Kev, I want to introduce y'all to my man, Jack. Jack from Cigar 360 here in Chicago, man. He's going to be part of the show for the rest of the Get Down. Now,
How y'all doing today, man?
we good, man. Go ahead, Kev. Floor is yours.
Yeah, what I was going to say was that what we have to understand is the power of media. Just like we don't understand the power of our money, we don't, I think, really grasp the power of how we can influence the media. Because we just spoke about how ESPN and Fox is definitely going to cover athletes regardless of what school they go to, right? We use those things to promote what's important for us. So when you have controversy at some schools because players are doing something for their community, I don't know if you guys are familiar with what happened in Missouri, University of Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys did a lot to make shed some light on some issues that was happening, on campus. They saw the value of their voice, and they used the media to express that and to highlight that. That needs to be done on a more broader scale. And I think just like the media is manipulated by the government in a lot of ways, we talk about outside of sports, as a community, small black schools, and to use that media platform to push the agendas that I think are important to us. And that's they could manipulate us, we can manipulate them. We understand our dollar, we understand our force.
Jack?
Can you repeat that question for me, Brian?
How do you feel about the media? They got control of a lot of things. When you see athletics, entertainment, our community, or whatever you want to attack it, what are your thoughts on today's mainstream media?
Well, I'm not a fan of the media at all. And I'm saying that from two perspectives. I'm saying that for what I see, like you said, how they manipulate it, just like the brother said before, they hidden agendas. But I also worked formally behind the scenes on media at a corporation, and I know that there's an agenda, and then that's what's really happening. And sometimes the two don't coincide with each other. And just like the brother said before, this is one thing you got to know about the media. Even on the lower levels, there's somebody saying what should be covered and what shouldn't be covered. And a lot of times on those top levels, we're not represented at all. And on top of that, a lot of times on the top levels, there's dual interest at play. Say I give you the White Sox, for example. The same guy that owns the White Sox owns the Tribune. You know what I mean? So if the Tribune is talking about something, they're not going to talk negative about the White Sox because he's not going to let them because that's his up and coming. You know, you got that sort of thing going on. So your voice has to matter. If you really want true information, you got to dig a little bit deeper in the media. And I don't trust them. I don't trust what they say. I don't trust everything they do. And they are opinionated with what they cover and what they choose to highlight, which doesn't always bring out the positive in the situation, or it doesn't always bring out what the actual situation is.
Man, you know what? I agree. Again, y'all in unison. The problem with me is it all starts. I mean, and this is a small history lesson. It started in 1982. The fairness doctrine was deleted from our government. The fairness doctrine is this: it is when if Big Mo owns a newspaper, he can't own a radio station in the same time, because at that point he's controlling everything. So when they did away with that, that allowed people to obtain media in all forms and force information towards you no matter what. And as you stated, Jack, then you got to dig for the truth. And if you're of a certain age, you were trained that the people on TV were telling you the truth, because at that point, it wasn't a for-profit industry. When they got rid of fairness doctrine, what they did was made media for profit. I mean, it became for profit. Now CNN got commercials. 1988, they introduced the word of CNN. Everybody laughed because they said, who needs 24-hour news? And then here we are. We are being bombarded with lies, half-truths, and people care about who's going to tell the story first versus who's going to tell the truth. And when you get that, you destroy communities, you destroy ideologies, and nobody can think on their own. With that being said, tell me how y'all feel about the world of entertainment. Looking at media is one thing. How y'all feel about the world of entertainment? You know, you got rappers giving the devil lap dances. You got sisters on TV grinding. You got this whole agenda, this sexual agenda aboard. Then you got athletes buying into it. Talk to me about the whole media thing. Jack, you first.
Well, you know, the entertainment, just like the media. So I'm a product. Let's say this: I'm a product of the '90s in the sense of I was like hip hop crazy. You know, '80s and '90s. So I was all into it. But from what I've seen being older now, there's been a shift in entertainment, and there's some good things going on with some of the people that have been around, but I think it gives a false narrative to our kids and to individuals about what is what. And I think that entertainment has helped create this attitude with our young people that everything is instantaneous. So like you got most of our kids are trying to mirror entertainers in the sense of they don't want to do. A lot of them don't want to do the hard work. They just want the fame and the glory because they see that the fame and glory brings about certain things. And what happens is entertainment has a way of hiding the facts of what work goes into being who you are. Your chances are out of 10, only 1 or 2 actually gonna make it, no matter how hard you try. And it creates a false reality. And then on top of that, the entertainers create a world or image that is not good for us on the whole as a people, and just as our kids, period. And it's entertainment. To me, entertainment has more power and more voice than anything, as far as influence on our people, our kids, other kids, and it doesn't matter. And I don't see entertainers taking that responsibility and accountability factor in it. Now, granted, a lot of them are young. They might not even think that way, but still, the effects of what they do still lingers on when they do become conscious, or when they do become accountable. Are they going to switch up and say, hey, I was wrong? Or I'm just going to go to narrative because it's made me rich now, and I can't change and risk losing my money.
And get your phone. Your phone got the list in order.
So, let's look at it in two ways. Radio, break it down in two ways. Radio and TV, okay? I don't listen to radio anymore. And I ain't going to spend a lot of time on radio because radio is just garbage. I pick my music and I pick my playlist. Radio is just totally garbage, okay? So I don't even want to spend a lot of time on that. TV. One of the biggest problems with TV is that we went away from sitcoms and situational life situations, and more into reality shows. And the false narrative toward reality shows is that it's actually reality. It's not. It's actually scripted to create drama, to get those clicks, those views. So we have taken, and I'll use a great example since H-Rap from Chicago, Good Times. When I was young and watched Good Times, there were so many ideals that I formed in my mind on how you're supposed to be a man by watching James Evans. We've lost that. Where is the James Evans on TV? You know what I'm saying? You don't have studios putting out quality, real-life situations that help society grow. They are more concerned with the drama and creating controversy and creating controversy and stuff that we've gone away from what's good for the community. So I think it's just garbage. I pick what I watch. I watch things. Thank God for on them, man. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
I can pick what I want to see because if I was relying on broadcast TV to entertain me, trust me, I would not be. I would be reading, listening to my music. That's it.
Yeah.
What's being broadcast is garbage.
Yeah. Well, I mean, bro, it scared the hell out of me. I got a 20-year-old. I got a 21-year-old. I got a 19-year-old. And truth be told, entertainment. I mean, music-wise, I mean, you getting this false sense of reality, and these kids are eating it up. You know what I'm saying? My kids don't even watch TV. Really never had. Not since they was little like that. But when you talking entertainment, you got to talk social media. I mean, that's where a lot of these youngins getting their entertainment from anyway. And that's, I mean, you got information coming at you so quick now. You know what I'm saying? So from week to week, these kids changing the way they think, just based on what they see online, what they seeing on social media, and all of these entertainers are living their lives out on social media. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I mean, it's that simple, man. I mean, it's almost like you got to build a wall around your house. You know what I'm saying? To kind of protect them because there's so much more negativity coming at them versus positive information. You know what I'm saying? Shit that's gonna make you better. Excuse my French. But I mean, like Kev was saying, I mean, I was born in '77. So I grew up in the era where TV was different. I mean, a different world, a bunch of black kids going to college, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. So, I mean, it's confusing to me. I mean, it's kind of hard to understand it. I mean, because a lot of these kids, they moving different based on the type of entertainment that's out here. So, yeah, to answer your question, it's getting hell.
Yeah, there is a higher agenda for sure. Every commercial you see, they're gonna have maybe same sex couples. They're force feeding in entertainment. They're gonna try to force feed the narrative to you, and the narrative comes from whoever's at the top on down. So, and I have an 8-year-old or a 9-year-old. She's 9 now. So for me, like Big Mo just said, yeah, it scares me because there's like they want your kid to go from just being a kid to being an adult, just being like thrust into trying to understand those things. So she still watches stuff as a kid. I mean, she still watches some of these shows because you want your kid to have like a childhood. You don't want to just like thrust them into things. So for me, entertainment as a whole is just it's a narrative that's being pushed, and it's just a matter of if you, as a parent, like it's really our job to give them the right narrative and make sure that whatever they are watching, that you know exactly what they're watching, because it could be a cartoon, and that cartoon can have motives in it that you don't even know. Like that's the scary part.
Exactly. It's ironic that you said that because that's exactly where I was going to go. To inculcate both of your guys' point of view, this was what gets me. It's nothing but a program. I said it the other day. It is programming. The television is programming our young people and some of our adults to, like, our older people are being programmed that this whole situation is not a problem. It's just isolated incidents, murders in Minnesota, and so forth and so on throughout the country. And then they want to tell you that this same sex thing is normalized. Look, if you want to do what you want to do, but that's personal business. That is a personal choice, and you don't need to put that in front of the world. I don't put my sex life in front of the world, so why do you? I know it's not cool to say that. Oh, this is my life. I shouldn't have to hide it. But one thing about it is this. When you introduce your personal preferences of an adult nature to the world, you should be treated like if you were hetero and did the same thing. Because if you showed the world what you did last night, people will frown upon you. If all of us, we're men here, if we had a conversation about our adult inner bedroom lives, we would be asked to leave our places of employment. And whether we want to admit it or not, when you start talking about being hetero or whatever, what you're doing is that's entering people's mind. So, look, if you are that, that's cool. I don't give a damn what you do. I don't care who you pray to. I don't care who you lay with. I don't care who you vote for. Keep all of that to yourself and just be a human being, because at the end of the day, the true fight is for equality throughout humanity and not equality throughout what you want it to be. So let's stop if we want equality, let's stop identifying ourselves outside of the human race. That's just my opinion. If you don't like it, it sucks to be you. You know what I'm saying? I got a video I'm about to show you, brothers, of an interview. I want you and the listeners to watch the interview. And then I want just look at your phone right now for me, and then you'll know exactly where in order to go with this. And I want you to listen to this and let me hear what you talk about. What's your thoughts on it?
Quentin? Hey Russ, this might fall into the control the uncontrollable, but I saw you and your wife had comments on Instagram about what Stephen A. Smith said about you guys. Well, it's about your play on First Take. How do you, at this point in your career, continue to hear those comments and just keep going and keep that laser focus? How do you just tone everyone out and just play basketball the way you do?
It's how my life been since day one. I've been playing basketball for my whole life. Like my wife mentioned, it's important that you don't let people deter you from your goal, deter you from your plan, deter you from the things you have destined in this world. Because prime example, man, is I watch these college games and I watch these kids and these announcers, man, they get on the TV and just say anything about a kid. They don't even know him, they don't know his family, they don't know where he's from, they don't know what he's been through, they don't know his struggles, they don't know his pain, they don't know anything about the kid. But one thing said on TV can determine how you perceive this kid on TV, which will allow him not to be able to reach his goals, which will allow him not to be able to get drafted, which will allow him not to take care of his family, which will now not create generational wealth, which now, makes our people and the minorities, the underserved community, which makes that gap. It's way bigger than basketball. That's my entire life focus. And my wife, that's what she's mentioning, because we talk about it all the time, is that I sit back, I don't say much. I don't like to go back and forth about people. But one thing I won't allow it to happen anymore is let people create narratives constantly just talking shit for no reason about me. because I lay it on the line every night, and I use my platform to be able to help people all across the world, and nobody can take that away from me. I've been blessed to be able to have a platform to do it, and like I said before, a championship don't change my life. I'm happy. I was a champion once I made it to the NBA. I grew up in the streets. I'm a champion. Like nobody can. I don't have to be an NBA champion. I know many people that got NBA champions. That's miserable. Have done nothing for their community. Have done nothing for the people in our world. And for me, man, my legacy, like I mentioned before, is not based on what I do on this court. I'm not gonna play basketball my whole life. My legacy is what I do off the floor. How many people I'm able to impact and inspire along my journey, man. That's how I keep my head down and keep pushing, because it's very important that you don't let the negativity seep in, because it's been like that my whole career, honestly. There's no other player that kind of takes the heat that I take constantly. But I take this positive because obviously I'm doing something right, people talking about me, and that's how I feel. And I stay my best foot forward, stay prayerful, keep my family close, and keep it like that.
What are y'all thoughts on that, man?
What you expect them to say, man? I mean, really, you talking about a cat that, look how much money they giving these boys, man. I mean, they paying these cats ridiculous amounts of money, and like he said, he come from the street, he come from poverty or whatever. The minute you hit the league, not only is your life changed, but the rest of your family's life changed. I mean, generational wealth, which means, you know what, I already won. I mean, and I think Westbrook is one of those players that lay it all out there every night. But at the end of the day, I mean, just speaking, I mean, maybe just for other players, I mean, where your incentive at? You know what I'm saying? How many players you know they got way more potential than what they gave you throughout their career? And maybe it's because they got millions in the bank. You know, so that's how I feel about that statement. I do agree with him as far as, you know, talking about how the media can really affect a young player's future in the league, or, you know, whatever they're trying to do with themselves based on what they say and the perception that they put out there about that player. But yeah, I ain't surprised he said that, man. I ain't surprised that he felt that way. I'm not saying I agree with it. You know, that's part of the reason why, you know, it's hard to watch sports now. But that's my take on that.
Yeah, I agree 100% with everything Russ said. And to back up, Stephen A. is an instigator. He's that person on the playground that will push somebody into the other person just to start something up. I'm tired of him. He's the big fish on ESPN. Obviously, he's the highest paid. They put him on every single thing. So I respect the guy's hustle, but I cannot continue to respect the guy that every opportunity he gets, he wants to start mess. You know, that's what he is. So I respect Russ for his comment, because that's true. Like, if he didn't say anything, the narrative would have just continued to push that way, and everybody else would have continued to have a comment and everything. But I think Russ is correct though. Like, he won. You think of the amount of players. If you go from high school to college basketball, the percentage of them that make it to the NBA is so small. It's so small that yes, he has won. And winning a championship is not everybody's goal. That's not what everybody's goal in playing in the NBA is. Their goal may be to use this money to fund other organizations, use this money to build up, his community. So I think also people are sick of Stephen A. poking the bear, if you will, and coming up with sly comments and all that. Players are done with that. Like, if every opportunity that you have, you're always going to have something underhanded. For him, he think it's funny. For Stephen A., it's the game. For Stephen A., he's just playing the game. But I think for other players, it's starting to get fed up. So I respect Russ's comment. Also, he is correct. When commentators or Bill Polians or all these guys that talk about the draft and all that, and they dissect these kids, that is a huge thing. Because imagine if everybody listened to Bill Polian and nobody drafted Lamar Jackson as a quarterback, and they drafted him as a wide receiver away. If he had no quarterback opportunity, that is his position. That is what he played since he was a kid. So there was a lot of, I think there was a lot of context to what Russ said, and I agree at every single level because that's his opinion. I'm not Russ. None of us are. So I don't think I don't even think it's fair to say I disagree or agree. I think you can give your opinion or whatever. But Russ is Russ, and he's always been that. Like, he has not changed, and I don't see him changing either.
Well, in my opinion, I hadn't heard that interview, and it's kind of impressive to me because what he said is a lot of the views and statements we made earlier about how sports are today. I think he recognizes that he's not valued as much as he should be, and he's looking out for him. And it's like I like the statement he made. I understand where it was coming from. As a competitor, I wouldn't want it. As a teammate, I wouldn't want to hear I don't care about a championship. I'm already a champion. But as far as him personally, and as far as the bigger picture, right? Like after sports and things of this nature, I think his statement was valid. Because like he said, and Bennett said, hey, he has won a championship because just being in the league, getting that opportunity to be on display and be a superstar, he has won. Now I'm not a fan of his game. I think he's a great scorer and things of this nature, but what he has said and the statement that he made is so valid that it really blows my mind. I'm really impressed about what he said. And let's not even talk about Stephen A. I don't even want to talk about. I don't want to give him any shine at all. So that's all I got.
Well, I was a former player. I didn't play, like at that level, but I have played. And for us, it's different because it was about, the love of the game. And I won't say it wasn't about the money, but listen, I respect Russell Westbrook for that stance he's taking. And I totally agree with how it's a game and your career can be derailed by factors that have nothing to do with what's really going on by a bunch of people that really don't have any connection to you. I remember 2 years ago in the draft, it was Zion, I can't remember the guy who did, and he went to New York, and there was John Morant. And they was hyping Zion, and they was hyping the other guy. My apologies for I can't call his name right now. John Morant.
That's the kid that played for the Knicks. Barrett.
Yeah. Now they was hyping those two up. Only the two best. But nobody was paying attention to John Morant. He didn't get the media coverage until the tournament, until we got close to the tournament. And I kept telling people, like, listen, man, I know y'all like Zion and Barrett, but I'm telling y'all, this guy John Morant is special. They kept saying, people argue with me. No, he's not. Then he ended up on number 2 in the draft. And then we already see the results of both of them. But my point is, where's Barrett? You don't hear much about him. But the media said he's the next best thing to Zion. And then he comes out of the draft high. His stats was high, but he wasn't John Morant. You know what I mean? So I agree with Russell.
Not yet.
Westbrook. Not yet. Not yet. And that's a fair statement. I agree with Russ on the media affecting people's careers. And I also agree with Russ to understand that there's more than basketball. Now, as a player, I kind of got mixed feelings when you say, I don't care about the championship because I'm a player. That's coming from a player's perspective. Like, you want to win. But who am I to say, at his level, that should be a priority for him because it takes a whole lot of factors to win just besides me saying I want to win. It's got to be general management. It's got to be other players. It's got to be a whole lot of things going on to create a successful franchise and team. So in that aspect, I can't really say too much to it. But the heat he takes, somebody gonna be the bad guy in all this, and it's turned out to be him. If it ain't Russell, it's somebody else. They always pick someone to be a bad guy. Number one, like we all agree, because that's their job to keep views. That's their job to keep attention. And Stephen A. Smith is horrible. And the reason why I say he's horrible because he's made a living off of saying silly shit. And I'm just gonna call it what it is. If it's blue, oh no, it's got to be red. Whatever it takes to create controversy. Now here's the thing: he's gotten big off of it. Pass out to the brother for making his career. But at one point, you say, "God, I'm doing more damage than I'm doing good." And then who made Stephen A. Smith the holy grail on what's in and what's done in sports? Media. You know what I mean? So, unfortunately for Russ, because he has a strong stance, he has a strong character, and that's one thing I admire about him with his interview, his character. You're not going to break him with words. You're not going to break him with, some of the things that break other players because he's strong in himself. But the downside to being strong in yourself is you tend to get a lot of backlash and criticism for it.
You know what? I think, okay. I feel everything everybody said. The only thing I will take from this, and I'm not going to go into a soliloquy, I think y'all took what he said too directly. I think Russ meant the championship is not going to make him happy or sad. As hard as that dude plays, let me start off again. I am zero bit of Russell Westbrook fan. He got 100% of my respect, no percent of my fandom. With that being said, as hard as he's playing, I believe it took a little translation, and he meant this. He meant, I'm out here busting my back every night, 82 nights a year, or how many games he play a year, to try to win. And if I don't win, I'm not finna go kill myself. It's not gonna kill me. I think he is trying to win, but I think he was saying, hey man, that ain't gonna define me. As he stated, I'm only gonna play basketball 15, 20 years of my life. And then I got another 60 years to live, 65 years to live, and that's what will define me. That's what I think. I love to hear anybody's response to that.
I get what you're saying, and I agree. I think the way he said it, it's easily lost in translation. You know what I'm saying? But I agree with him. Me as a fan, selfishly, I don't want to hear a player say that about a championship. And I'm like you. I love Westbrook. I feel like he get 120% every night. I just don't like the way he plays.
Right.
I just don't like the way he plays. You know what I'm saying? I feel like a lot of that criticism come from that. You look at some of the players that were around him and no longer around him. I mean, of course, you're an athlete, man. You're going to open yourself up to criticism. I agree with him as far as, listen, beyond basketball, I got a life to live. And the league put themselves in that position, paying the players the way that they do. Go get your money. I ain't mad at none of them for that. I don't care if it's the NFL, the NBA, MLB, golf, NASCAR, it don't matter. If that's what you're paying them, go get your money. But I just feel like the way he said it, you know what I'm saying? And I love it. I love every bit of it. I mean, I ain't never been a Stephen A. Smith fan, Jason Whitlock, none of them. But, I mean, I just feel like, as a fan of the game, I don't want to hear a player say that about a championship. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if I'm watching the game, I want my favorite players to want to go out there and get it. I want them to be hungry. That's what confused me about it, because I do feel like he one of them players. I don't feel like the brother don't want to win. You know what I'm saying?
And in regards to getting your money,
it's almost like he just spoke out of frustration on that level.
No, I think he had a realistic point of view. I think he was saying, okay, let me tell you why I'm backing Russ on this 100 billion%, right? Russ has realized that the NBA is all about, as we stated earlier in the program, these sports leagues is all about money. It's a reason certain teams never win. You can't tell me that the Lakers and the Celtics are the smartest two teams in the history of the league and everybody else is stupid. I refuse to believe that. There are certain things set in place so certain teams will continue to play because it's a ratings chase. I've even had people tell me, oh man, don't nobody want to watch those two teams, but if you're a sports fan, why not? You see what I'm saying? I think we should, Russ is realizing wherever the money is, that's where it's going. Because all of a sudden, everybody want to play for the Nets? No, you in New York. That's why you want to play for the Nets. All of a sudden, the Lakers are good again. You go from you go from shit to sugar, and then now you're back to sugar, and it's just cool. And when it's okay for the play, and Russ realizes it's okay. That's why they destroyed James when he did what he wanted to do. Because all the haters of LeBron James, all the people that say he did this wrong, he did that wrong, if you haven't been working for the same company for the last 25 years, I assume that you did what you wanted to do. So James did what he wanted to do. He didn't ruin the league. What he did was realize the NBA is set up for TV. Kevin McHale sent his best player to his close friend, Danny Ainge, and then somebody sent Ray Allen over there so the Celtics would be good. Simultaneously, the Lakers are good. The two biggest draws in the world. How do these teams maintain greatness? Are you telling me these other teams are just stupid? No, they're not. They know it's a money grab. And Russ, when you say get your money, the salary cap is a joke. The salary cap is a joke. How is it that you in a small league when everybody's doing revenue sharing? Oh, this is a small media market. Everybody doing revenue sharing, which means everybody get an even cut of the biggest pie. And then you get Comcast, you get AT&T, you get all these different cable deals on the networks. And then you get ESPN, ABC to cover the games as well. So the league by itself is making billions of dollars every year, but you a small market? No. Russ realized, hey, if the whole world ain't watching this team, that team ain't going to win. And until the whole world start focusing on that team will start winning. I'm living in a city that's living proof. The Bulls used to be garbage truck juice. And all of a sudden, this dude from Carolina get there. He get to dominate. And then the whole world focused on it. And next thing you know, Chicago wins 6 championships. Amazing. That guy leave, the Bulls back trash. And the Bulls back doing the stupidest moves possible. That's all I'm saying. I think Russ has realized that. And he's saying, I'm going to play my hardest. But if I don't win, so what? Anybody want to retort?
Well, just piggybacking on what you're saying, see, that to me, it goes back to what we were saying earlier, right? You have to understand your worth.
Mm-hmm.
And he understands his worth, you know? And so we can't be mad because he decided, hey, look, I'm going to focus. Well, it goes back to what you said earlier. I don't think that he's not caring about winning. It's just hard to hear it. It's hard to hear those words, right? But we all know that he cares about winning. I mean, you can't be a competitor and not care about winning. So just the words is hard to digest, right? But I also think that
his stance all along. Like I said, I agree with his stance because just as a human being, I agree with his stance. And Brian, you're right. It's about who's going to draw the most ratings with these games. I give you a prime example. Let's go back in history. Like you said, when the Bulls, the 2 years that Mike left, the Bulls were still a championship contender. And for 2 years, they did not win off of controversial calls when they were supposed to go to the championship. And Scotty carried them there. And, I can give you another answer to that. Portland Trailblazers, when they had Scotty, Rasheed Wallace, I forgot what they had. They robbed them of the championship. Then all of a sudden, they were down, I think they were down 3-0 with a deciding game and put them out of the playoffs. I can't remember who they were playing. They come back 3 days in a row. And then 6 minutes left in the game, and they take Rashad and Scotty out for the rest of the game in the fourth quarter while it's close. Which caused them to lose, which caused the team to go to the championship. So, like I said, as a player, just like my brother said earlier, it's hard to say, I don't care about a championship. But, like I said, I think part of his stance is, like you said earlier, reality is setting in. I'm not the favorite guy in the league. So now I have this reputation that follows me. Even though I'm so effective, teams still got to give me paid. But like you said, they ain't gonna build around me though, because I'm not a media draw, and I'm not the NBA. What do you call it? Poster boy. You know what I mean? You never notice the NBA poster boys, they always brag about how great guys they are off the court, they're nice, they're this and that. So when you don't fall into the poster boy image, you're not going to get, you tend not to get support you get. And it trickles down from the very top all the way down to the team. So, maybe it's an issue, and I'm throwing this out of the question. Maybe it's a thing of reality setting in, like, there's a very good chance I'm not going to win nothing. So let me start looking towards the future after basketball, because for as hard as I played and invested, for me to still be coming up with nothing, and like you said earlier, for them not to put people around me to help me win, maybe just a lost cause at this point. And I'm just finishing out when I started.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think when OKC, when that whole thing started to implode and KD was gone and he was there by himself, I think after that, after leaving there, I think it did settle in. And I think that's an uncomfortable thing to have to settle into, definitely for him. Because when you come to the NBA, I would assume your goal is to win a championship. So I think that's hard for a lot of players when they're settled in. Like when settled in for Karl Malone at one point in time. It's settled in for John Stockton. It's settled in for a lot of these guys at one point in time. And so, I think that I agree with you, Jay. I think that's true. I think it did. After the OKC days, and then he went to Houston, then he went to Washington. To Washington. And at that point, I'm pretty sure it pretty much settled in at that point.
Yeah.
Before we go to the next topic, I want to take this 2-minute break to promote our show forecast. Please pay attention to this. This is extremely important. This is the first time I've ever done taking a mid-show break, but I want everybody in the chat room to see this because this is extremely important. Keep your eyes on.
Here is the story we have been told in Columbus's travel journal. They were discovered. But there is no such thing as alternative facts. There is something we need to talk about. 3 words that summarize summarize the whole history of humanity. Civilization, colonization, extermination. This is the origin of the ideology of white supremacy. This is me in the middle, and I just want to understand, why do I bring myself into this story? Because I am an immigrant from a shithole country. Neutrality is not an option. So you best duck. It's time to own up to a basic truth. A story of survival and violence. We know now what their task truly is. Exterminate all the brutes. It's not knowledge we lack. You already know enough. What is missing is the courage to understand what we know. Who are we? What if, from the beginning, the story was told the wrong way? The nightmare is buried deep in our consciousness, so deep that we do not recognize it. And over the centuries, with us all buried, because the past has a future we never expect.
Thank you for staying in and returning. We have returned. That is a docuseries on HBO Max as well as HBO called Exterminate the Brutes. It tells the real true history of the United States of America. It puts some colonizers in their places, and it helps you understand why you have issues identifying yourself. This series will be either broken down in 4 parts or in 2 parts by me and my forecast brothers, Ben from BS3, my man Dalk, and my man Wilkes. We do an awesome job of this. Yes, I'm patting myself on the back, and I'm patting my brothers on the back, because if we don't blow our own horns, it won't be no music. So tune in on BS3. Go to BS3 on YouTube. Subscribe. You'll get a notification Monday, and join in the conversation. We'd love to have you. Back to this, brothers. Thank you for tuning in. This is still Built for This Network. I am still HRAP. This is still the End of the Bench podcast, Build and Destroy, where we build up our community and destroy the propaganda and lies that we have fallen victim to. How, speaking about poster boys and how Russ feels and everything that we've covered, how do you feel about the way that all the major leagues as well as college treat these athletes today?
Well, I think the way athletes are being treated is real suspect, right? You have to view their true value. It's truly about not winning championships in my mind in a lot of ways, right? It's to produce ratings, and in that aspect, it kind of it loses its value. It loses its appeal. You know, when you are looking at a team and their biggest view is ratings, you know, or money, the bottom line, it's a huge question mark. They don't love, in other words, they don't love the teams as much as we love the teams. And I think that's a huge problem. So, the way athletes are being treated, especially when we talk about black athletes, right? I don't think they view them as equal. I think they're really, it's really so hard to really grasp what they're, really what they want. You know what I'm saying? When you want someone who's independent, you want someone with a purpose, with a goal in mind. But if that goal doesn't line up with your goals, then they ostracize. They're talked about, And that's where I think, look, you can't money they make. But money is a lot, but it's not everything. And if you're not respected, and if a lot of players I feel not respected, I think that's what it's really boiling down to. I think that lack of respect for their voice, I think is being seen, and it's really hard to gravitate to and to really latch on to. And I think that's why a lot of fans are being discouraged. They are being turned away because this whole mentality of shut up and play is it's hard to swallow.
Well, you know what? Let me throw this out here and give you two viewpoints. One as a business owner and one as a fan. I don't like the way they treat their employees. If I'm a business owner, I want to treat my employees that make the most money for them very good as a business owner. But what the league has done and the teams have done, they've taken on the attitude of what most of us deal with every day at work on a lower level. Hey, you work for me, I pay you, that's it. There's no respect involved. Now this is what I really don't like. I don't like the fact of, I understand it, don't make it right, but I don't like it. What I don't like as far as how to treat the players is when it comes to being owners, having ownership, having some say-so in the brand, your brand, the money that's being made off the players, jersey, stuff like that. They don't have nothing to say about anything to do. I think that's wrong. Because, once again, if I own a business, if all you guys work for me, and I'm doing well, why wouldn't I want to make you guys happy? Why wouldn't I want to give you guys something so you can have the mentality, the slave mentality, the slave master mentality is this. Hey, I'm going to keep you down, and I'm going to keep you right here because it helps me stay where I'm at. But that, to me, that doesn't work. I think that's wrong. So I know why they do it, because it's not even a thing of, here's the sad part, because we have more African American, well, I don't even want to say African American, because we have more black players. Sometimes it looks like, and it is directed towards blacks, but I think it's more so a thing of money, a power grab. I want to stay in power, so I'm going to keep my foot on you and keep you suppressed so I can stay in power. Now, you know, you got a union and this and that, but, you know, it only goes so far. Like I said, these owners, they don't hold them accountable for the mistreatment of their employees. You got a labor board for if you do something wrong to somebody on a certain level that you can go to. You might not get no results. Sometimes you might, but if you have somebody you can go to and say, hey, we're not being treated fair. But outside the commissioner, who's not going to go against the owner for a player, there's nothing made for them to be accountable for their actions as owners. And I think that's a big problem. And I think that, you know, players, they'll stand up, but at the end of the day, until they understand who they actually are, and like somebody said earlier, their value, then you got to take it, I think you got to take it from that angle and understand, hey, they don't view you as equal, and they never will. You're an employee and working at it. So they're never going to say, you're me. They're never going to say, you know, well, he's a good guy, so now if I like you, whatever. But they know that line of the sand has to be there in order for them to stay in power. So to me, you got to address them right where they stand with their money. So when you start messing with money and affecting money, but see, that goes in the whole thing. Do I put my money at risk? Look at what happened to do I put my money at risk for the sake of challenging them on a level where it's going to affect their money? And I might get the support of my other players, and then I might not.
Next up, I think that's you, Ben.
I thought it was Mo.
Mo, okay.
Oh, my fault.
keep them on my text. I'll say this though. I mean, it's a lot of manipulation. When you think about these leagues and the players, one thing that I feel like we got to remember: a lot of these players are kids, man. So when they come in this league, you got a lot of bread that you've given them, and you manipulating them with that bread, and at the same time, are you taking responsibility for these kids' lives at a certain point? I get it, it's business, but you know, it's a right and a wrong thing to do. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if a kid is lucky coming in the league, he got the right people around him. You know, he got people guiding him and you know, just kind of coaching him off the field, off the court. You know what I'm saying? In other ways throughout life. But I mean, to me, it's cut and dry. It's plain and simple. It's a lot of manipulation going on, and you know, do what you can for me while you're here. After that, you know, I mean, they ain't got nothing to do with you. I mean, you see how quick leagues disassociate themselves with these players. I mean, to me, it's just that simple, man. I just think it needs to be more responsibility taken from these organizations when they come to these players. And I don't see that happening.
Yeah, I think when you say athletes, I think it's two different levels. You look at college, where they're clearly they make so much money for the school, and they get an education in return. That education is minimal to how much the school is making. So I think college athletes are not appreciated at all. And when it comes to the pro level, I think it's kind of the same thing. And I think people say, well, I'm your employer. But to me, it's different because there's so much money involved. It's not like these guys getting paid $15 an hour. To me, it's a little different because there's so much involved in these players or star players on the team. You look at all the quarterbacks. If you look at the promo that they do for Sunday Night Football, normally it's the two quarterbacks that are on there. Now, if that quarterback goes down, maybe they can have the star wide receiver or whatever. But so they're not appreciated. I do think the NBA does a better job at considering the players, but again, it's still the same thing. We pay you what we pay you. You play. I think the NFL is just shut up and play. Like, and we'll give you something, but we're not gonna give you everything. And to me, the NFL shows the least appreciation for these players when it comes to guaranteed money. Because if one of these guys, God forbid, gets a concussion and dies on the field or can't play after that, we're like, oh well. I mean, if there's something in your contract, that's great. But if there's not, oh well. And all sports, we've heard this numerous times, is next man up. That's not just a cute saying. That's a real thing. When somebody gets injured, it's the next man up. When somebody doesn't choose to show up, next man up. Oh well. So I think there's obviously different levels to it. I think Major League Baseball, kind of like what A-Trap said earlier, is that they made a response afterwards. Like all these leagues really make a response when the players stand up or when there's so much backlash that it's like, well, I guess we should do something because these guys play in our organization. That's kind of what it comes down to. So, yeah, I don't think I don't know if the athlete will ever be truly respected. What I do want to see is, as these players retire, the LeBrons, the Stephs, all of these guys, I do want to see them get into ownership because I think that is really the next level. Being a player, I don't know how you only have so much of a voice. When you get into ownership, which is what I would want to see, I think that's when you're able to kind of upgrade your voice, if you will, and have more of a range and see more changes. With that being said, I gotta head off, but I wanted to thank A-Trap. Thank you for coming on. Make sure to go to bs3radio.com. You can find all the content there. Also, BS3 Radio on YouTube. And great being on with you guys and seeing you guys too.
Always good to be with you, man. Be on with you Monday, man.
Yeah.
And if you need me, call me.
Definitely. Gotcha.
I don't don't really have a response to that because y'all covered everything, and it'd just be kind of redundant for me to say the exact same thing. And I would have loved for Ben to be back on here because I would have said, how about instead of getting into ownership, do what Big Mo said and get into creating your own. We gotta stop working on the plantation. Let's buy us a plantation. With that being said, should amateur players be paid? Y'all touched on it a second ago. Should they be paid?
Yeah, collegiate level, right?
Go first.
Yeah, it's Jack, Mo, and Kev.
I think they should. Now, at first, I was against it. I'm not gonna even front. I didn't think it was right. But as when we know better, we do better. And just like the brother said, they had to leave. I wanted to take my son when the final 16 was against Chicago a couple years ago. I wanted to take my son because he played basketball. He's 13 now. I had no idea the amount of money they was charging for those seats. And when they gave me that price, and I said, what? I said, are you serious? This is college basketball. I mean, it was way more than I could afford. And I was blown away. And this is for nosebleed seats. And I was blown away for it. And I started thinking, like, I was ignorant on the cost of the seats. I knew they made a lot of money. But I'm like, my God, these people are raking in millions off these kids. But if they try to do something for themselves, they keep them out and suspend them, and you can't play ball no more. That's wrong. To me, it's free labor. Because we know say you have 500 kids playing, and I'm just throwing a number out there, it's not accurate. You got out of 500 children playing NCAA Division I, how many go into the league? So this is it. And if they can make you all this money, get you shoe contracts, all this stuff, you should be able to do something for them. And I know you're going to say, people say, well, you're getting an education. Okay. And you're getting $10 million. So you need a comparison. So they need to be paid. I'm sorry. They need to be paid. For the level of playing, the level of time, the level of what they got to go through to get there, they need to be compensated for it. That's just the bottom line.
Yeah, they need to be paid. Pay them because you can. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can pay these players, and I don't care if you got to get with these networks that broadcast your games, put it in the contract. You know what I'm saying? Compensation for my talent. You know what I'm saying? You recruited me. You know what I'm saying? I didn't. You got some players that sought out these schools, but you recruited me. Pay me. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's again, that's an easy question to answer. They need to be paid. I mean, would Duke be Duke without their basketball program? Would Alabama be who they are without their football program? You know what I'm saying? Pay the players. I mean, it's a conversation that's been going on too long. And they need to be addressed with some money. So, yeah, I say pay them.
Well, this is a subject you can do a whole show on, in my opinion. I have so much to say about this that I can talk. H-Rap Mac just cut me off. Just cut my mic off. Look, I think I'm going to take it to the next level. I think it's a crime that these players are not getting paid. For the simple, look, getting an education is so difficult as an athlete that it's embarrassing. The schedule that these guys have to abide by is ridiculous to compare that with I'm educating you. No, you're not.
Great point.
You allow me to become eligible. That's all you do, and that's all you care about. You don't care about me and my future career. All you care about is university
And to piggyback off what Ray the Kev just said, and that's all I'm gonna say. And then you can pick up whoever I cut off. I apologize. Y'all can pick up right after say this. The NCAA is a multi-billion-dollar organization, multi-billion-dollar annual organization, and it's a non-for-profit organization. So who the hell is that money going to? A non-for-profit just means you can make $1 trillion. You just got to spend it. So why not let it trickle down? Even if the schools, wink, wink, don't have the money to pay for the players, which is outside of your damn mind. Because if the teams were exclusively funding the schools, why is SMU still open? Because they shut SMU down for 2 seasons, no sports at all. And last time I checked, SMU was paying Larry Brown millions of dollars. So DePaul, one of the largest endowments in the United States of America, they don't have a football team. Their basketball team ain't worth 1,000 cookies. So I don't want to hear this nonsense about you can't afford. All you have to do simply is pay. You know what I would be satisfied with? Part of Ray Kev's plan is allow them to capitalize. They actually doing that. You capitalizing off your name. But just imagine if you done something as simple as give everybody $50K.
Yeah.
Everybody get $50K between 30. Let's say you start off as a freshman, you getting 32, and then you escalate until you get to your senior year to $50K. I think that's actually cheating the players, but I think it's relatively fair. Because if you let them do that, huh?
Like I said, what team can't do that?
Exactly. Seeing how Alabama, y'all telling me y'all can pay Nick Saban $10 million, but y'all can't get my little cousin $50,000. Y'all made $100 million last year. So y'all can't give the football player $50,000. I don't want to hit it. Y'all spent $26 million on the locker room, but your LSU, Alabama, Florida State, y'all spent $25 million on the locker room, not a book in place. Y'all got people down there inventing the cures to AIDS and all this stuff, and y'all don't have no money? Because that's what they're doing. They down there curing AIDS. They treating diabetes. Think about it, man. Some of the best hospitals in your city is the University of XYZ Hospital. Because they're experimenting on things. So I don't want to hear that nonsense. I want you ready to care. I'm right there with you. I ain't trying to hear this. You can't pay. Because TNT, CBS, USA, Fox, and ESPN all gave the NCAA billions of dollars. Hey, guess what we didn't count? The ticket sales.
Yeah.
We didn't even count the ticket sales. Oh, by the way. No. I'm just saying at the beginning, hey, Mo, there is no limit to what they should make. I was just saying.
I mean, as long as they've been robbing these kids the opportunity to make money, I mean, you got them out there on an internship. Like, come on. It's time to be fair with it, because truth be told, I mean, if somebody started a campaign to take this thing and make it a legal issue, how do you think that's going to play out?
Mo, you will not get. Hey, man, I wish I had a grain of salt on my desk so I can show you how much I'm not going to debate with that. I was just saying, I just threw 50,000 as a number out there. You know what I'm saying?
No, I get it.
So, no. I'm not saying 50 is the number. I'm just saying, just imagine, man. You living on campus and you from the projects and you got 50K of your own. You know how much you can take care of your mama at home? Your mama working every day. Your mama ain't working 2 jobs no more. And the reason they need to be paid, I'm glad you said that, Mo. And another reason they need to be paid is this. I'm Mo. I'm Jack. I'm Kev. I'm Rap. Our mama's working every day. And I got 50K to send back home. I got 50K plus 3. Now that education is worth something. Now them kids will stay their ass in school. Because if you stay your ass in school, now you're going to network. If you network, then what happens? You create communal wealth. Because, hey, man, hey, Mo, you live in South Carolina, I'm in Chicago. What they got down there that we don't have? Now being me and Mo rich, Jack and Kev, I'm in Chicago. What they got in Texas that y'all need? Oh, well, they got liquor down here, Jack. I'm sending this up to your liquor store, Jack. Kev, We got mild sauce. It's unique. I'm shipping that down there to you, Kev. It's over.
Yeah, I mean, you go back, if you listen to some of these former star college players, just talk like I was watching. Man, I'm trying to remember. I think it was All the Smoke. You know what I'm talking about?
Steven Jackson.
And they had Chris Webber on there. He was talking about how he walked in the store, didn't even have no money for nothing to eat, and saw his jersey hanging there hotel. You know what I'm saying? And meanwhile, you know, I mean,
he 30 cents away from a quarter.
Yeah, when you think about what they did for that basketball program at that time, I mean, it's crazy, man.
Watch this.
It's sickening that they're not trying to pay these players.
Watch this to confirm what Mo's saying, people. The University of Michigan won the national championship in 1989. They made the school $2 million. Chris Webber and his crew was there 2 years. Made $20 million per year. And they didn't win a damn thing. Jack.
And you know what? Just piggybacking off that, like I feel like they should get a certain amount. I don't know what the amount is. And they also, if you're a star player, you should get some money off those jerseys being sold with your name on the back of it. On top of that.
That's your likeness.
They selling your name. That's your intellectual property. That's your name.
No. They smart about that, Jack. They never put your name on the jersey. They sell Jack Chris Webber number 4, but everybody in the world knows he's number 4. O.J. Simpson number 32. Everybody knows O.J.'s number. Michael Jordan 23. So we just selling 23 jerseys. This ain't your intellectual property.
Yeah. So you're right, but they should, get a certain amount that's standard. And if your jerseys are high, if you're a high player, your jerseys are selling, you need a percentage off each jersey. It should come to you. That's how it should be.
And to confirm what you and Mo said, Rick Pitino gets fired. His salary is $12 million a year. Guess what he was making $25 million from? Adidas. The University of Kentucky is like, yeah, we'll keep it. I mean, Louisville, we'll keep him. You don't worry about it. And Adidas is like, us too. Good looking out.
Yeah, that's great.
I skipped over a question, and I want to go back to when we talking about entertainment. You got a lot of erratic behavior. Some of these young men and women. Nicki, and the rest of them dudes, Nicki Minaj and Kanye and Nas X and whoever else you are. Some of these dudes are marketing geniuses. They know how to get their world paying attention to them. Even though they know those things, a lot of these brothers out here, they got flash money. You know, like it's that song, Imaginary Player. You got flow dough, little to no dough. Did the old school let these new school entertainers down?
And whose turn is it? I didn't see it on you.
Kev, Mo, Jack. Can you hear me, Kev?
It's on me?
Yeah.
It's on me? Okay. Well, I think the answer is obvious. Yes. I think so. And did you say hold on, let me make sure I got that right. Did you say the new school entertainers let down the old school?
Okay, Nas X, Lil Boosie, Lil Webby, and all the Loves and all them little dudes, you know, Lil Babies and all them people. Some of them dudes are broke. They just got money to show.
Right.
And it looks like they have a lot of money because I got a lot of money in my hand, but I got 35 cents in my bank account.
Right.
Seeing how, looking at the history of the entertainment world, did the Ron Isleys, the R. Kellys, the Jodeci's, or whoever you want to, did the people from our generation going back let down our children's generation in the entertainment world?
Well, I think in some ways they did, but in a lot of ways I think it's the responsibility. See, I think if you have knowledge, I should have listened to what you were saying. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's twofold. I think they have to do, whoever has the knowledge has to do better to give the person that they're trying to bring up the cheat code. Have to understand the game. Because the game is long term, not short term. We don't want to hit. We want a career. If you want to hit, hey, that's pretty easy to do. If you want a career, if you want if you want that generational wealth, that has to be taught and understood and taken in. So I think it goes on both sides. Not only do you have to give that information, as a young person, you have to receive it and comprehend it. So I think it goes both ways.
Yeah, I mean, Kev, he took the words out of my mouth, man, because you got a lot of these older guys. And H-Rap, I think you mentioned it before on a previous show about how a lot of these older entertainers that, pretty much got raked business-wise, they didn't pass that information on. And, and like Kev said, how much are these youngins going to listen? You know what I'm saying? But, like, Master P is one of my favorite business minds. Yes. The way he coached these, you know what I'm saying? He giving you the game, And the way he did it, I mean, it's just so dope. I can listen to that cat for hours and he can talk for hours. But I feel like when you talk about labels like Def Jam or, a lot of these, Motowns and record labels like that, what are your development plans like for these artists? You know what I'm saying? What kind of coaching are you doing behind the scenes? How much business game are you giving them? Or are you just taking from them? And you don't want to think like that because, you recognize these entities as black labels, That's who we looked up to when it come down to entertainment as far as music go. But what kind of game you giving these youngins? Because you gotta set them up right. But yeah, in a nutshell, to answer that question, yeah, they let them. In a lot of ways.
Yeah, I gotta agree with both Mo and Kev. And then you get to the question of how far back is old school, because now what we listen to in our early 20s, 30s is old school, and then there was old school before that. You know what I mean? Right. When you go old, I call it old school. Most definitely, they did not teach the game. They didn't. They didn't do it. Plain and simple.
Sam Cooke tried.
He did. And you know what, Mo, was crazy about it? Like you said, we never even look at it. But a lot of these guys were signed to black labels.
Mm-hmm.
And it was getting tough.
Yeah.
And they were getting tough. Now, when you progress up, you start seeing it a little bit, and then you get into what Kev and Mo said about listening. Because you take the average artist today, they have no respect for the people that came before them. And they just don't. They'll say it like, he old. They old. They're not doing what the old dude said. And then, it's crazy because, and this is on subject but a little off. And then you got a whole other thing going on now. Because the ones that are independent doing it, they don't have any accountability to anybody. We can just take, H-Rap. We can take Chicago drill music. That's a whole show by itself.
Mm-hmm.
And what's going on with that? And you know what I'm saying? And guess what? They got the game. And they doing it. But they're
destroying themselves.
They destroying themselves. So, it's crazy. I admire Prince because, I just listened to something the other day. Somebody was doing an interview and they were talking about Prince and they were saying how much respect they have for Prince. Oh, DMX.
I knew exactly what you was talking about. Drink Champ. Shout out to Nori.
Yeah, Drink Champ. He said he tried to school him on the game early after his first hit. Now, the difference between that, DMX and Prince, DMX might listen. But you take that situation today with one of these new cats, and then on the old cats try to tell them that, man, that old dude gonna tell me what to do, man. I did this. I'm making this. I do this. listening to him. He old. He just want to steal my shine. They get offended when someone tries to help them that's older than them. It's like this rebellious thing. Like, you can't tell me nothing because you don't know nothing because you old. That's attitude.
Okay, with me, I agree with everybody, but I want to add this. I think sometimes we underestimate the youngins, right? I've been talking about this for the last 3 shows on my shows, on my traditional shows, with just me. I believe that damn crack cocaine made it so these young men won't listen. Hear me out on this one, y'all. The reason I say that is, let's go back 100 years. Most of our grandfathers was hanging out and kicking it 100 years ago. That's when he met our grandmama, right? He met our grandmothers 100 years ago, and they were doing their thing. He didn't have a old school head to teach him because his old school head was in bondage, right? So you fast forward, your grandfather, and he bled it into your dad. Hope. All he could go off of was the hope, because it's, you know what? Your grandfather was in bondage. So I did a little better. You're going to do a little better. You can do it because I did. That's what men do. He bled it into it. And then our fathers, if we had them, bled into us. In the meantime, we got the Vietnam War. We got we got COINTELPRO, and we got just the traditional white imagination going on, or they call it white supremacy. I call it white imagination. Now, and then when we came of age, we're a little older than you, Mo. That's when that crack hit. And guess what? Our old heads fell victim to it. They went to jail, and they got strung out on the drug. We're the first generation that knows that hope is real. Like, whether you believe in Barack Obama or not, isn't the issue I'm trying to make. But that's the first time we seen it happen. This is the first time we seen broke-ass Russell Simmons turn into rich-ass Russell Simmons. Broke-ass Puffy turn into rich-ass Puffy. Destitute-ass LeBron James turn into LeBron James. So we can actually, this is the first generation, in my opinion, that can be counselors. Because we too old to fight. Ain't no more marching for us. Our backs going to be hurt and we fat. You know, it's no more of that. So these young people missed out on that because their parents were either involved in nefarious activities or fell victim to nefarious activities. A lot of these dudes, I can't stand the music, but when I do listen, a lot of them rap about how you gonna give me advice, but back in the day, all you did was give me a pack. So it's a double-edged sword. I ain't gonna listen because you didn't help when I needed it. So now I've made it in my mind. How you helping me? 2 Chainz raps about that frequently. Did somebody say something? 2 Chainz raps about it frequently. And in regards to the industry, that's one piece. In regards to the industry, I'm mad at Barry Gordon. I'm mad at Russell Simmons. I'm mad at Diddy. I'm mad at Easy. Rest his soul. I'm mad at I've never heard Jay Prince be in the cheated you category. Jay Prince and P. Oh, and contrary to popular belief, Suge Knight treated people right too. Now, if you want to be in the mix, you might have got your ass kicked. If you was there for your bread and your talent, I don't know nobody who was there to do their thing that got an issue with Suge. And from what I've heard, reputable people co-sign Suge. So I can't speak on that. But Jay Prince and Percy Miller, they did their things. And why are we taking, this goes back to the very beginning of the conversation, why are we using industry contracts to sign Big Mo and Jack? Why ain't we saying Little Richard got screwed, this dude got screwed, that dude got screwed, that dude got screwed? We here at Motown, we not operating like that. We gonna get rich and you gonna get rich too. Now, a lot of those dudes did get rich, but they supposed to be making it so you could get rich into perpetuity. Russell, Puffy, why are y'all using Arista contracts and just erasing Arista and putting Def Jam and Bad Boy on top of it? I understand that you have to make money. But at some point, we got to stop using the contracts and the blueprints of the oppressive culture on our people. I can't imagine Jack saying, rap, I want to be on Built for this network. Well, tell you what, it's going to be $1,200 a month, and I own 50% of your shows. No! This is what we're doing, Jack. I'm going to help you build your get down. I need to recop my stuff from helping you build your shit up. But once we recop, first it's going to start off 60-40. Once I get my money back, we 50-50, and we're going to take off. That's the way. Even if you go, it's going to be 70-30, then we're going to go to 60-40, because if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't be on. So you're going to have to give me more than that. I need some money for investing in you. I need some residual for investing in you. I know you the talent, but I'm the machine. But we don't do that. We continue to go, hey, well, that's just standard practices. If you're going to use standard practices in the United States of America, you outside your mind if you look like us. Because standard practices in the United States of America get you that. So that's why I say, yeah, we did. My last question of the night is going to be an easy one, brothers. Actually, it's going to be difficult. Do the athletes and the entertainers owe us anything? And do we owe them anything?
Repeat that.
Athletes and entertainers, do they owe us anything as a community? And does the community owe them anything?
That is a hard question. And I'm torn with that because I want to say they do, but just knowing how things go, I want to say they don't. And the reason why I say that is because I have been entertained, but I've been a victim of having a little bit of success, how our own people treat us. You know what I mean? And so I can't just honestly say it's all them. I think it's a very complex subject, and I think that at the end of the day, if you get an entertainer that tends to be about them, if you listen to their story and their background, you might be like, oh, I didn't know that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I think on our part, and it's just not entertaining, it's just us, and it doesn't mean you'll get rewarded for it. Somebody got to be a bigger person to say, I'm going to look past what was done to me for the sake of all of us. And who am I or any of us to say who that should be? You know what I mean? Being entertainment is hard. You got to go through whatever you got to go through to make it. But for everything that we see, there's a whole lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that ain't good for them. And unfortunately, most of the time it comes from right at home. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Our biggest battle for us is getting past our own folks to try to make it. Because we are our worst enemy sometimes.
Indeed.
And I know this is a broadcast, a lot of people listening, but I'm just being honest. Your biggest fight when you're trying to be something, whatever that is coming right from your home. And I'm saying that in a general sense.
Metaphorically, I get you.
It's hard as fuck. It's breaking past that.
While we drink and smoke, we talk. So, you know I know.
Yeah. So, when you break past that, then you got the next thing. But your first battle, and your hardest battle, and the one that's going to affect you mentally and emotionally and the most is the battle you had to do from within just to break out. Mm-hmm. And that comes from home. Unfortunately.
I can't fight against you. Amen.
So let's say all four of us here, we fighting to do something. We know where the first struggle coming from. It's coming from home. Now, if I get out of that and I beat that, now you want me to turn around and help somebody. The same people that really almost made me not be able to do what I'm doing. So that's why I said you have to elevate past self at that point and look at the bigger picture and look at, hey, this is something that has been systematically done. That's going on and on, generation to generation. But if somebody don't say, you know what, we got to break this habit, then it ain't gonna be broken. So I think it's a twofold thing. I think the responsibility is on the entertainer and us, the fans, equally.
Next up.
It's a tough one to answer, man. But I think he put a dope perspective on it, and I agree with it 100%. I mean, as an entertainer, you know,
or athlete,
go ahead,
or athlete, both.
Yeah, I mean, you know, just yeah. But I mean, when I think about entertainment, I'm like, I'm only looking for you to entertain me. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of hard for me to really answer that question like that. But it's for us, you know, we owe them a fair shake. You know what I'm saying? It's a fair opportunity to, you know, present to us whatever it is they're gonna present, and for them just be truthful. You know what I'm saying? Just be truthful. Not saying be completely transparent. You know, you don't owe us that much. You're here to entertain. But I mean, yeah, I'm gonna keep it simple with that, man. I mean, just give us truth, we give you honesty. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, my perspective is, and you got to put them in categories because entertainers, it's a lot easier for an entertainer to give a stand up on a certain ground and be firm and to try to, you know, give back to the community. Because I do think anyone with any type of platform is required to lift up this community. I think that's required. I don't think it's just something you should do. It should be required. Because everyone doesn't have a voice. I don't have a voice like LeBron does. Okay? And by using that platform, it gives the everyday person, it gives his fans the courage to say, well, if he's going to risk a multi-million-dollar contract to stand on his convictions, then certainly I can give up a couple $1,000 to stand up on mine. And I think that example could really benefit the community in a huge way. So I think that they do owe us. It's a little more dangerous in the NFL. The NFL, you see what happened to Cap. Right. So that's why I say
they need the support.
Fight, right? But I think entertainers have a great opportunity because I don't really think that there's nothing that's really going to suppress them the way athletes, basketball, I would even say baseball, they have opportunities because of their unions and because of their work as individual players. They could make a bigger stand because they're not. The NFL has proven that they can suppress you, and that's sad, but that is the truth.
I agree with Kit. Oh, I'm sorry. Say that again, Kev, please.
Coupled with that, if we support them,
that's right,
regardless of their faults, because everyone's going to have faults. Okay, we don't judge a person for what they're doing in their personal life. You're doing the same thing. You see what I'm saying? You can't judge someone for something that you're doing, right? Understand what this person is trying to accomplish in the bigger picture and support him to the utmost. Now, I don't know what we could have done for Cap because I think the black community did stand with Cap. I'm not sure how we could change that outcome. But if we as a community really, really stand behind our athletes and what they're promoting to help us, I think it could be a win-win. And that's the only way it's going to work. They have to put themselves out there, and we have to be more receptive and understand they're not perfect, that they're human. And let's listen to the narrative, let's listen to the story, and get behind the story, and not necessarily that person's faults.
Amen. Ashe.
I want to disagree with you, but I'm glad you broke it down the way you did, man. I agree with that 100%.
I totally agree 100% with Kev, and I'm gonna just add on a few pieces. One of the pieces is I think as Jack, you actually, man, you and Jack, y'all stated the hard love truth, and me and Kev are coming from the emotional portion. That's how we get this together to get one truth. And Jack, you're right, man. Our community is self-destructive. Therefore, we don't do everything we need to be doing with the community. What Mo said, like, man, you just got to keep it honest with us. What are you actually trying to do? And where we and Kev coming from is this. Just the this is what I love about our folks, but we don't apply it, right? We always brag about we the number one spending community in the world. We always brag about our power. But when it's time to exercise that power to support Kaepernick, like, why didn't we support Cap? You know how we could have supported Cap? Let's just say we all love football. We addicted to football. But you know what we need to do? We need to meet up at Mo's house. 10 or 15 of us need to say, hey, Mo, here you go with $45. Now go buy that motherfucking 60-inch TV, and then we're going to come over your house and watch TV. They get one view. We still get to see the games, but they ratings go down, and that's because of us. Now, it go back to the beginning of the conversation. Start buying HBCU jerseys and investing in us. And then we get the kickback from that because now the campus is better and we flourish. The second thing is this. The third thing is this. As we support them and if we do buy, like Kaepernick, everybody who loves football should have bought a Kaepernick jersey because they get money off, the players get money off the jersey. By that being the number one selling jersey in the league, that set him for life. Then, the reason I say they owe us, because we going to do all that, right? Let's say hypothetically, we living in this euphoric, perfect world, and we do all that. The reason they owe us is, even though you took all those jump shots, even though you took all those tackles, it was Coach Big Mo who got you through. So you need to be helping Big Mo. And how about this? Don't help Coach Big Mo. Don't help Coach Kev. Don't help Coach Jack. Pimp the community. You made it big in Chicago, Carolina, Louisiana, right? You go back to your hometown. It's three of y'all. And I don't want to call these dudes out because I'm not. But I'm using their names because they from Chicago. Jabari Parker, Derrick Rose, Anthony Davis. Imagine if they came back to Chicago and opened up grocery stores in those food deserts. We would all flock to them. Because when they get gym shoes, we all go buy them gym shoes. And they make an announcement. We give it back to the community. I'm opening up a store on the southwest side of Inglewood, the southeast side, the Manor, and on the west side. Those people would flock in there. You open up opportunities as well for employment, and now you got people hired. The community is doing, you did the community a favor, we're going to do you a solid. That's why I say we owe them the support, like y'all said, and they owe us, and then they can get it from up under that. Just imagine, man. Or something else. One more thing before I go to the just imagine portion. We also need to be telling our young football players, you see in the chat room, Jay Ron always talking about Canadian football, Canadian sports. What if we start asking our young players, hey man, do you want to be in the NFL or do you want to get paid to play football? Because if you want to get paid to play football, I'm going to send you up to Canada. If you want to be in the NFL, we may not be able to help you. See, Herschel Walker gave it. Kev mentioned you giving us the blueprint earlier. Herschel Walker gave us the blueprint in 1983, didn't he, Kev? The NFL was like, come on, play with us. He said, y'all don't pay enough. I'm going to the USFL. Exactly. And he's still rich to this day because he went up there. I think Trump's still paying him because he had some dumb long Bobby Bonilla contract. So I just think if we pour into our young people the right things, what will come out will be right. Me and Jack have had 1,000 conversations, and it then all came back to, but the old school dude down here hollered at me, and that helped when I was way lost in the middle of the ocean. I was able to swim back to where the old school dudes start talking. And we don't do that. In my opinion, we don't do that enough. If we do that, we'll come together. We'll be in a better situation. Anybody want to retort?
You know what? Let me say this on the Kaepernick issue. Home didn't support Kaepernick. I mean the fans, meaning the NFL players. That's what I'm talking about too. When I say home, if home would have got behind Kaepernick, that would have been a different outcome.
Mm-hmm.
We did what we could do on our end. We could have did more, but we did something. But he needed home to get behind him. He had a couple people, and after their first couple of weeks, and you know what? And he gonna flip side to that. I'm gonna play devil advocate. Do I lose my money when I ain't had nothing and now I went from nothing to something to fight a fight? And I just put this out there. It's not how I feel, but this is might be the mentality of a player. So I put myself out here to fight a fight that probably ain't gonna be won and really ain't got nothing to do with me on some level, but they don't have to be no more. So do I do a Kaepernick? Even though I got money, I don't know that they don't know my personal situation. I take care of 20 folks plus me. So I'm gonna get down on this knee, but as soon as they tell me to stop, I'm stopping because I can't afford it. Me and these 20 other people can't afford to take no hit. See, that's what I said about it got to go beyond self. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying they were right or wrong. I'm saying this is the dynamic that was dealt. And the way people responded lets you know what was more important to them. You know what I mean? So, you know, the homes, once you get to the point where, like I said, it's a dual responsibility, just like Ken Mo said, it's a dual responsibility. And you said, but at the same token, too, we gotta support, man. It's about support. Both ends. They need to support. We need to support. If they do support, we need to stand behind them. Like you said, if all of us would have bought Kaepernick jerseys just to make sure his bag was secure, we don't know what his money is like. It would have sent a big statement saying, you know what, we got you. It would have made it worth it. But when I look at Cap and what he stood for, I praise him for it. But in the back of my head, I wonder, does he say, man, if I had to do that again, would I do that same thing?
I think he would.
Aaron, can I add something, Rap? Time?
Yes, sir.
Time to make a question.
No, we got. If y'all got time, we got time.
I don't think the community realized how close to the NFL came. And I'm gonna tell you the key point and the key indicator with Jerry Jones. I knew something was about to change. With Jerry Jones, who I think is, I'm sorry, Dallas fans, I think he's one of the most racist, biased owners that they are. I think he views these players as slaves, and he's the plantation. So I'm gonna call a spade a spade. When he viewed and understood that the revenues that was being lost because of this controversy, what did he do? It might have been fake and phony, but he actually made a gesture to stand with these players. They were on the verge. I put it to you like this. I feel, if there would have been 50% more players make a hard stand, and if more fans would turn off that TV and not give them the views, they were on the verge of breaking the NFL in their practices. They were close. We didn't cross the finish line. The cap was close.
Yeah.
I'll say this to that too, man. I agree with you 100%. Like we talked about the situation going on with possibly building your own leagues. Get more young players to participate in HBCUs. the entertainment business and they shady business deals and the way a lot of these artists got raped and stuff. I want to be optimistic that, you know, we'll see some change in all of these areas, but I question sometimes whether or not it's even realistic, you know, because of the players involved in these leagues and the people that's making money off of these artists, people that look like us in our community. You know, I want to be optimistic, but it's I don't know, it's kind of hard because, I mean, we having these conversations now. It's not like we're not aware of what's going on, you know, but when are we going to change this? You know what I'm saying? Change our way of thinking. When is greed not going to play a factor? You know, when it's just really just understanding the leverage that you could have, you know what I'm saying, as a community and do something about it. When are we going to take it down?
That's why I said we the first generation of elders who seen the BS, who can react to the BS, who can identify the BS. It's up to you to continue with your boys, your sons and daughters' care, me and Jack's son, potentially my grandkids. And that's why I always preach this thing. You listen to my show, you've heard me say it 1,000 times. In Africa, there's no such thing as an aunt or uncle. It's not part of that language. Your sons, Mo, are my sons. Jack, Kev. I'm not Uncle B. Or what, you can identify me as Uncle B, but hey, whatever he say is the law. And until we the first generation to actually see it, man. If y'all just let it marinate for a little while and think about it, we are truly the first generation that's seen success and know what it, you know, okay. Because, I mean, like I said, man, James Brown and Lil Rich and them, they didn't know what was going on. They was like, I'm richer than I used to be. I ain't never seen nothing like this. Marvin Gaye and them, they ain't know nothing. This is new. It wasn't no Motown in the 50s. Duke Ellington and them, that was all new. And then Berry Gordy said, well, they screwed all them, but I got it. And then Russell said, look at Berry Gordy. Then Puff said, look at, and then Easy said, if Easy and Easy Luke and Jay Prince said, look at Russell. And then Puff said, look at Russell and them. And here we are. Think about this, y'all. We 30 years out of Puffy.
Yeah.
We 30 years into Puff Daddy. We the first generation to see this form of success academically, entrepreneurially, femininely. Hey, man. So we need to be the old wise men. We need to, if y'all seen that movie Concrete Cowboys, when those old dudes sitting there telling about the black cowboys, we that first generation of that. So we can do it, Mo. I'm willing to do it. I know a cat like you. I know everybody on this panel willing to do it. All we got to do is recruit one person and tell them to recruit one person.
Yeah.
Y'all remember that shampoo commercial? And I got two friends, and I got two friends, and so on and so on. We got to do it like that.
Yeah. And you know what? And I'm like, so I'm gonna face devil advocate again, throw this out there, and I'm throwing it out there as the magnitude of it. One of the hardest struggles to be able to transition mentally is going from nothing to having something.
That's heavy.
That's a long journey in
Woo!
because a whole lot has to happen in your mind to be able to stay where you are. And I really believe a lot of athletes and entertainers fall victim to that journey between nothing and something.
Mm-hmm.
Let me give you an example. I don't know what nobody's financial situation, but you go out here and play the lotto and you hit for $650 million tomorrow. Everything that you know about anything has been with boundaries on it.
Mm-hmm.
And now every boundary that you ever had just got removed just like that. You don't know nothing about this game. You don't know nothing about having all this stuff. You're still going to operate like you got nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Until you learn how to operate with something.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you fall and get killed in the process, it's very possible. But, you might make, you might not. Let's look at Antoine Walker. I can tell you that story personally because I grew up with him. And I'm not going to put his business out on this cast. There's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes why he experienced what he experienced. And a lot of it did not have to do with him and bad decisions. It had a lot to do with not understanding where he was financially. So it can happen to anybody, these NFL players, these entertainers. And like you said, if you don't have nobody, which goes back to what I talked before, if you don't have nobody teaching you the game, you left up to learn on your own, and it ain't 100% that you're going to survive the pitfalls to get to the point where you know where it's at.
Amen, man. Ashe. Hey, man, each one of y'all can get y'all parting shots, and then we going to hit the wrap it up button.
Well, what I want to say is, I appreciate this forum. I appreciate what the alternative to what we are normally thrown at. We're thrown negativity. We're thrown that we can't do. And with this show, this network, other networks like A-Squad, it can expand your thought process and understand that we are at another level. We can take this to another level. Forget about the reality shows. Forget about what's being fed to us by this media machine. And let's listen to us. Tune in and plug into us, because this type of program, these type of voices, are not only need to be heard, but they should be required. Because how else are we going to get away from what they want us to think and want us to believe if we don't broaden and understand that they are not the status quo? This is the status quo. Brothers getting together, talking real talk, understanding, that we all have a voice, and let's voice our opinions. So all I want to do is appreciate. I want to show my appreciation and share my appreciation. Guys, whoever's listening to this, hit that share button, hit that like button, and let's get this voice heard to multiple people. When you talk to someone, hey, tell them about, In the Bench podcast. Talk to them about all these other programs that are on screen and everything. And let's broaden our viewing and not allow the machine to influence our thoughts.
Yeah. And I echo what Kev just said, man. Bro, I appreciate you for using your platform the way that you do. And these are the kind of conversations that need to keep happening, man. And as a fellow podcaster, man, we got to just sit down and just come up with different ways to make this an even stronger platform. Just get together with brothers that do what we do, man, and just try to make sure that we do it on a bigger scale so that more people can, be exposed to this type of content, man. But yeah, bro, I just appreciate you for just doing it unapologetically. You know what I'm saying? Without watering it down. So.
Appreciate it, man.
I also agree. I appreciate HB Rap. Everything you do. Most definitely subscribe to this podcast, man. Listen. And did I say your name right?
Nah, you ruined it.
I thought y'all was proud, so I said, I apologize for that.
It's all good.
I know him as B.
Yeah, he know me as B, man.
Let me just say this. Keep doing what you're doing. But like Kev said, man, you need real dudes getting together, talking about real situations, man. Because the truth, if we would have had this when we were younger to hear the truth, man, things would be so much different. I often say that all the time. Like, we had to learn on the flat on our own. A lot of us, you know, if you had it there, you were blessed. But more of us did than did. And so, like, I had to learn on the fly. And the streets taught me, and you know what? They taught me some bad lessons, man. And I'm still paying for it at the age of 51. You know what I mean? If somebody comes to pull me to the side and say, hey, bro, listen, man, do it this way. Things be different. I was one of the few that survived, and I don't mean literally surviving my life. I'm talking about mentally survived and was able to come out and be a functional citizen. But we got a lot of guys that aren't because of what happened to us before. So we need this. We need brothers like y'all to keep telling the truth, putting it out there. Man, Mo, your podcast as well. Man, real and truth is going to win at the end of the day over everything else. And that's what's going to help us be better than what we are.
Man, that was man. I think I want to first and foremost, I want to thank y'all. I want to thank everybody who was listening, and I want to thank anybody who was listening in the background chat room, the whole thing. Now, I really appreciate this. That's like why I kind of gave up on the sports thing, because I felt the sports thing wasn't gonna get us where we need to be, and I was like, enough. But with that being said, I want to thank DJ Mad Knox, #1 Chief Rocker, Cheers Roundtree, James Earl, Andre, Big Illinois, Joe, and DJ Purplicious, and the new lady Lexus for being part of Built for This Network. Thank you for doing that. I want to thank everybody who tuned in nationwide, worldwide. You got international following. I appreciate everything. It's a simulcast on Built for This Network on Spreaker and YouTube. The End of the Bench podcast, Build and Destroy. Well, my goal is to build up the community and destroy the lies and propaganda. Man, anytime y'all come up with something that y'all want to talk about, just hit me and just let me know, and we gonna do it. Period. Because, hey, man, I'm the son of two freedom fighters. As I stated on Saturday on my show, I was talking to Supernova Sloan. Respect to him. My great cousin is Nat Turner. So this is part of it. It's not on me, it's in me. I want to thank everybody who supports the program. Y'all not followers, y'all not subscribers, y'all supporters. Without y'all, there's no me. Continue to support the networks on Spreaker. I labeled it Black Spreaker a few years ago. Support Big Mo when he come back and play. The moment Big Mo get back and play, hopefully he send me a promo. I'm gonna play his promo like I played the promo for the forecast on Ben's Network that I'm a part of. I want to thank Big Mo. I want to thank Jack. I want to thank Rated Kev. I want to thank Ben from BS3. And man, we'll be on for the rest of the week. Dre come on tomorrow with the mix. DJ Mad Knox, Cheers Roundtree and his crew for Theory of the Culture. Big Illinois Thursday evening. Friday DJ Mad Knox. Saturday, I don't know what I'm gonna do Saturday, but I'm gonna come up with something. DJ Purplicious Saturday morning, the Jaw Jacket Sunday. Monday, #1 Chief Rocker Jersey Vern, Knox before me. And 166 hours from right now, I will be back doing something. And as I say, I'm changing it up. I always salute my ancestors and my relatives before the show. I'm going to salute some other podcasters, which is Wallow and Gilly, $1 Million Worth of Game. Talib Kweli. I want to salute my man Nori, the Drink Tramps. I want to thank Lamont King. He does Lamont King Live Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on YouTube. I want to thank Karen Hunter and Dr. Dr. Greg Carr for what they do in regards to enhancing enlightenment. I want to thank Joe Madison. I want to thank Laura Coates. I want to thank Clay Thompson. I want to thank Karen Hunter again. I want to thank Heather B. I want to thank them for giving me information and inspiration. Anybody who's inspiring, if you put it in me, I'm putting it out there. I want to thank Supernova Sloan as a guest. I want to thank Rod Strickland, Kenny Anderson, Olden Polynese, James Lights Out Tony, Tim Thomas, and anybody else who's been on my day. Reggie Brooks, And everybody else would have been on my damn show. Chief Rocker comes on Thursday. Sports Therapy. I'm sorry, Sports Therapy, 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. Man, and I always end it with this. Shout out to Reggie O'Shea, because I stole this from him. And it goes, dream those dreams and man up and woman up and live those dreams, because life without dreams flows in black and white. Life with dreams flows in Technicolor surround sound. Zoe Williams, Zoe What Show. My man Ray Grady with the Alpha Male Show. And my main man, Corey Holcomb, for 5150. Those are also inspirations. And since I'm thanking everybody to Craig Smith for Craig Facts, I always end the show like this. And I got an outro now, but I'm going to end the show with me speaking verbally like this. If I owe you something, I ain't got it. And if you need it, get it from God.